Hey everyone, my name is Rick Gualtieri and welcome to the first Tales of a Midlist author of 2019. First of all, Happy New Year. It's a brand new year, which means new opportunities and potential for a new you. I'd love to say that it's a new me, but I'm currently still waiting for my basement to dry out before I can start working on that new me. But I am really hoping to get down there and start working out soon, which really has nothing to do with this video. What I wanted to do today was revisit an older subject. I figured for starting off 2019, revisiting Kindle Unlimited and whether or not it's the right choice for you as an author sounded like a pretty good follow-up topic. Kindle Unlimited continues to be, I guess you could call it a disruptor in the industry, but even though it's been around for a while, because it's still a point of contention, it still gets discussed. And it's still some people will claim it's the great savior of publishing. Others claim it's the great Satan. When the reality is the truth is probably somewhere in between. So what I wanted to do was, rather than introduce it, because I have an earlier video on that, go watch it if you want. Kindle Unlimited is an Amazon program. Just to give the quick and dirty recap. It requires exclusivity for a 3-month period, in which case you can either re-up or or leave. And that allows you to be part of their Kindle Unlimited program, in which people pay a set monthly fee to be able to borrow unlimited books. It is limited, but functionally it's unlimited. It's limited in that you can only have so many out at the same time. But I mean, if you keep reading and returning, Amazon is pretty much going to say, hey, take all you can eat. So what I wanted to look at was I guess kind of the current marketplace, at least my observations of it, of whether or not Kindle Unlimited is still kind of worth it. I think my last one left off with that. For new authors, it probably was worth it. Now I think I have to step back and kind of look at it a little more objectively than that. Having observed Kindle Unlimited for the majority of 2018, and also having my finger hover several times off the unsubscribe button with regards to my books being in it several times. I've been trying to the shine is kind of worn off, so I'm able to look at it from a little bit more, as I said, objective viewpoint than maybe originally I did. It's not all wine and roses, but it can be very good for some authors. So I want to talk about the upsides, downsides, and who it might be best for. So the upsides, the upsides are this is an Amazon program that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon. I mean, if you're out there on the various writers boards, you see every other month a rumor comes up that Amazon is going to kill Kindle Unlimited, and usually then there's a lot of panic, a lot of hair pulling, and then a bunch of other people step back and just laugh because they realize, no, that's probably not going to happen. There's a growing number of borrowers on Kindle Unlimited, and that's definitely an upside. Amazon, this is conjecture, and some of this is conjecture because ultimately only Amazon knows the secret sauce, but Amazon does seem to favor books that are inside Kindle Unlimited or their KDP Select program with regards to ranking. How true that is, I don't know. I'm just saying that's a rumor out there. I can neither confirm nor deny, but I have heard a lot of people talk like that about that. It definitely gives you more opportunities with Amazon's various business tools. I mean, if you're part of Kindle or KDP Select / Kindle Unlimited, which ultimately they're kind of the same thing, you have access to their countdown deals, their free days. Outside of that, you really can't do free days unless you get them the price match, which can be a major pain in the ass. You can do sales and stuff as you want. You can change prices however you want, but the free day or the countdown deals makes it a little bit easier, where you can just say, okay, for this day, make it this price. For this day, go back to regular price. And during those times, it will actually say, okay, by the way, this book is on sale, which definitely can help push things rather than just people seeing a base price of 99 cents. So those are good things. It used to be that you could only use AMS, Amazon's marketing services, if you were part of Kindle Unlimited, but they have since changed that, so that's no longer, I guess, a benefit. Argue if that's good or bad, and we'll get to that as a downside in a moment. And I guess if you have a lot of books, it's one place to focus your writing and marketing, which is cool. You have to be exclusive to Amazon, and some people have gotten dinged because they try to play smart, they try to play cute with that. I know last year there was a couple of romance writers who did the whole, okay, well, my books are in Kindle Unlimited. Oh, but it's the exact same book but with a different title on like Kobo and everywhere else. And that was cheating, and I believe at least some of them got caught. So something to keep in mind there. Exclusive means exclusive, and that goes also for box sets too. So none of this stuff of basically saying, well, okay, I'll put my main books on Kindle Unlimited, but I'll put my box sets everywhere else. No, no, no. If your story is exclusive, it is exclusive, and not only box sets but also multi-author box sets. That's something to keep in mind. If you have a multi-author box set that's going into Kindle Unlimited, and you probably need to make it exclusive, and that those stories are exclusive only to the box set for the life of that, unless you are a publisher and all those people are publishing their books through you. So just something to keep in mind with the exclusivity. But the upside is, once again, one place to focus your writing, your formatting, and your marketing, which, having been wide in the past, I can say can sometimes be a real godsend when somebody finds a typo and you're like, all right, let me update it, and it winds up being a half an hour to fix rather than 3 hours to fix, because you have to put it up on Kobo and then wait for Barnes and Noble and then everybody else to get there. And the other upside is, well, it's Amazon. And I mean, I have definitely heard stories of other people doing really well at the other stores. But I've also heard plenty of nightmares of people saying, yeah, the other stores are dead. It's a graveyard. I've heard, especially, I hate to say it about Kobo, people who are like, hey, I've gotten promotion after promotion with Kobo and sold 3 books, which can be worrying. Amazon is it's the biggest store. It is the store that puts in the most work for it, and it is the one that seems to be constantly evolving, where the others, well, they seem to be standing still a lot. So there's a lot of upsides to Kindle Unlimited. Downsides, well, I have heard it said in more than one place that Kindle Unlimited is a little bit like a roach motel, in that once you check in, it is very hard to check out. And the reason for that is, once you get in and you start building up a fan base and you start noticing that, hey, 50%, 60%, 70% of my income is borrows, it's really hard to turn that off, especially if you look at the other stores and say there's opportunity there, but it's unknown opportunity, and knowing that it's going to take you at least a month, maybe longer, to build up any momentum there. So Kindle Unlimited could be looked at as a bit of a trap in that, and I have little doubt that this is purposeful on Amazon's part, and that once you're in it, it is kind of difficult to escape. You have to really suck it up and take the hint, or take the hit. Assuming you're selling. If you're not selling, well, then it's no real big deal either way. Another big downside is it's still a potential hotbed for scammers, for people looking to just break the rules and push their books ahead of you in nefarious ways and such. Amazon cleaned house a bit last year. For maybe about a period of 2 months, there was a lot of high-profile people getting banned and Amazon getting the dreadful letter from Amazon saying, you have been found guilty of manipulating Kindle Unlimited. You're out of here. And good or bad, a lot of people were like, well, it finally sounded like Amazon was taking this seriously. But it's been quiet since then. So the question has been whether or not Amazon was kind of just doing token service to kind of shut a bunch of us up, or if they're actually taking their own rules seriously. That being said, I think it's still rife for potential scams, click farms, things like that. And it can be a scary place, and it can be a frustrating place when you look and see, okay, this person is obviously just putting out poorly edited crap, just throwing it out there. Somehow their ranks and they're are always kicking my ass, and that they're getting I guess bonuses and such. That can be a very frustrating thing. I'm not saying everybody gets bonuses and stuff. There's plenty of legit authors who know how to do Kindle Unlimited and make it work for them. Let's just get that out of the way. In fact, I'd say the vast majority of them are likely legitimate. So before anybody jumps to conclusions, another downside, if you're a part of AMS, Amazon's marketing service, I got to be honest, Kindle Unlimited makes it a pain in the ass. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have more than once killed ads that on paper look unprofitable and then watch my ranks drop through the floor, because apparently they were getting a lot of borrows. But because of the way Amazon does this, you can't see borrows in AMS. You can only see sales. So essentially you're forced to market with only half the data. And one could argue that anywhere you're marketing, you're getting half the data. But since this is Amazon, owned by Amazon, and you're paying the money directly to Amazon, there should be kind of a correlation of like allowing you to market a little bit more smarter than you're capable of. And you can figure this stuff out, but it takes a lot more work than it really should, when it really should be a button click. So yeah, trying to figure out borrows, especially when you have like, ads out there with like, with dozens of keywords, and trying to figure out which of those keywords are profitable and which of those keywords are just costing you like, are just a money hole. That can be really frustrating. I know I'm in the process of just playing around with my ads constantly, and that just makes it more and more difficult, especially when I look at an ad and say, oh, I spent $100 on this, but I got 0 sales. Let me kill it. Then suddenly watch my rank just like shoot through the roof, and not in a good way. And then it's like, okay, well, do I turn on the entire ad, or do I just figure out which keywords? And I mean, I guess technically you could say I could do one keyword at a time and like, test it that way. If I had, the next several months to like, to do nothing but test and like stop writing perhaps. So that is one thing. I think, especially with AMS, Kindle Unlimited makes it really like, more harder than it should be. Another conjecture piece, because only BookBub knows their own secret sauce, but it has been discussed that it seems to be harder to get a BookBub if you're in Kindle Unlimited, because BookBub wants to send those emails out to their readers who are on Nook, who are on Google Play, who are on the iBook store. So I've heard it said that if you're in Kindle Unlimited, you have a lesser shot of getting a full BookBub deal, and call it maybe it's just bad luck, maybe maybe I suck, but I do know that ever since going into Kindle, I have not gotten a BookBub deal, so that is something to keep in mind. Although one could argue that BookBub does not have quite the bang that it used to, so there's another thing. Those are the upsides and downsides, at least from a high level, that and like from this last year that I've been looking at, that I'd say. Now, there's 2 other categories. Who would I say Kindle Unlimited is best for, and who it is not great for? Let's just stop right here for 1 second, and let me point out, these are only guidelines. There are no rules. There are plenty of people who break the rules and make tons of money, and there are plenty of people who dot every I of everything they're supposed to do and don't sell a single book. There is no guarantee here. I'm just saying my observations. Kindle Unlimited, I believe, is best if you are a rapid releaser. If you are the type who can spit out a book a month or more rapidly, Kindle Unlimited seems to really favor that, because it seems to favor people who really want to consume those books and such. How much life those books have beyond that consumption, with regards to longevity, that's up for debate. Completely different, Tales of a Midlist author topic there. But if you're a rapid releaser, Kindle Unlimited definitely, I would say, seems to favor you. And if you can keep that production going, if you're like saying, okay, well, I'm just going to write this series, and then I'll rapid release it, and then I'll disappear for 6 months, Kindle Unlimited may or may not be good. But if you're the type who can keep up that production machine going, Kindle Unlimited definitely seems like it might be a good shot for you. Certain genres, likewise as well. I've talked in the past about hot genres, and I think this is the same. There are certain hot genres on Amazon that do not seem to really exist on the other players. Harem, reverse harem, lit RPG. Those are kind of like 3 that come to mind, where they have huge presence on Amazon. But if you go over to, let's say, Nook, or if you go over to like iBooks, you're going to find some books on there with it, but it's not nearly like, the rush that you're going to find on Kindle Unlimited. That is definitely an upside if you are the type who writes in those hot genres or chases those hot genres. Downside, though, is of course hot genres eventually become not hot. So if that's kind of like that's your business model, you do run the risk of eventually hitting a wall there. Yes, rapid releasers, if you write in certain genres, Kindle Unlimited, I would say, probably favors you. Who is Kindle Unlimited probably not the best for? I would say if you are a slow releaser, a slow editor, Kindle Unlimited might be good for you. It might be also a way to keep that readership up, but it also might not favor you because of the rapid fire bang, bang, bang of the rapid releasers hitting it. So that might potentially say that there might be more opportunity for you at those other stores. If you're the type who releases a book I want to say every other month. I would say, maybe you release like 2 or 3 books a year. That might be something to keep in mind for that. Unless once again you're already in Kindle Unlimited, in which case see my like my you check in, you can't check out scenario there, because I know what I'm playing with is I'm looking and going, okay, well, do I want to start maybe moving some of my series out of Kindle Unlimited and moving them wide, but it doesn't make sense to move all of them. It's it's a difficult thing. You have to really make a tough business decision with regards to it, because I mean one could argue that the money in Kindle Unlimited is good, but the being locked in there is maybe not necessarily good for the industry. So you just have to like weigh all the factors and make a smart decision. And I think money is always going to be a big decision, but perhaps it's not the only decision that needs to be taken into account. So, all right, that is my Kindle Unlimited revisited thing. Like I said, it definitely has merit. It is definitely a big player in the industry, but there are definite downsides to being in it, and you probably should weigh those. You know, at any point in your career, whether you're a beginner, a mid-list, or a bestseller, whether you have one book, 10 books or 50 books out there, Kindle Unlimited, this is something to keep in mind, also from a short-term and long-term perspective. What are you going to do? All right, so that is our first Tales of a Midlist Author for 2019. My name is Rick Gualtieri, and I hope to bring many more of these to you in the coming months.